with Overwatch 2 mid-season happening recently. We actually got some pretty substantial balance changes that actually kind of shaked up the game. More than enough, actually, for a mid-season patch, which is kind of weird. Usually for mid-season, we never really get that much balance changes to a lot of the heroes. And the only things that really matter are like the season launch updates. So, going to be an updated tier list for Season 10. It's going to be the mid-season hero ranked tier list. If you guys missed my Season 10 ranked tier list, the one I did on Season 10 launch, I'll leave a link at the end of the video. I'm not going to be talking about every single hero in this, otherwise I'll be here forever, but there is a lot that actually changed. I do want to explain pretty in-depth with some of the ones that actually did change and kind of what's going on currently. Keep in mind, it's going to mainly be for your solo queue ranked from like your silver all the way up to mid-tier plat, low-tier diamond. It's not going to be for your really high, like top 500 champion tiers of ranked, that type of thing. Or like your duos or trios. Mainly going to be a solo queue bias tier list. I also play on console. I'm a Nintendo Switch player, so keep that in mind if that really doesn't matter. Apart from that, I'll top right into this. If you guys like these videos, if they keep on doing them, I'll keep on bringing them your guys' way. Normally, I usually don't do like mid-season updated tier list, but with this season, we actually got enough balance changes, like enough changes to the game to where stuff actually changed. So I feel like I kind of warranted to try to do a list for you guys and kind of update it. We're going to be getting a new season, Season 11, here in about 3-4 weeks, so it's not really too much longer to wait, and then we're going to be getting much more changes, at least what they've been teasing already. Reaper's going to be getting changed. There's a few other things they've already teased for Season 11, so a few things I'm going to be going through. I'll throw the screen on, or the, not the screen on screen, the list on screen for you guys right now. Pretty much everything on screen if I don't have it all up there already. All these heroes are the ones I'm not talking about. These are the ones that haven't really changed at all. So if you guys want to hear an explanation for all these, go check out my last Season 10 tier list for the entire game. Like I said, I'll leave a link to that at the end of the video if you guys want to go check that out. Apart from that, I do have all the other stuff. The ones that aren't here I'm going to be talking about. They're going to be either moving on the list or something with them changed. So get right into it. Start out with Venture. Venture actually got heavily nerfed. Like the first tier list, I was bitching and complaining how she was probably the best like DPS in the entire game. They nerfed her pretty significantly, and then they kind of gave her some quality of life changes to compensate like a week or so afterwards. She now has it where you can actually like, you get a cooldown reduction on your drill, I think your drill rush or whatever it is, if you're underground, using it underground. They also made like a quality of life change to her underground thing where like before you pop out, you can kind of control it a little bit better. I don't know. I think she's still good. I think the main thing with Venture, I think if they really want to buff her, like she has some like small changes they can actually probably do with her. There's some just like mainly like quality of life stuff that I would give Venture. I don't think she really needs to be buffed at all. I think I'd probably put her in like A tier. I think she's actually in a pretty decent spot now. Especially after they nerfed the shit out of her. Not really as many people are playing her, and the people that are playing her, like, you need to really know what you're doing. You can't just, like, play her and just, like, roll the entire lobby, like, on release with her. So, I do think she's A tier now, which is kind of average. Not really bad, but not really good. You kind of need to know how to play her. I think the main things that are kind of holding her back is actually the game itself, because I've actually been trying to play Venture a lot recently as well, just trying to get at least a little bit decent at her, kind of try her out now that I can actually play her without her getting insta-locked every single game. And I think the main thing I'm actually facing is the servers. Usually if the servers have any type of lag, which is completely out of your control, you can't do anything. If the servers have any type of lag, you'll try to go underground, and like if the servers have any type of delay, you'll actually get killed right as you burrow underground, and you'll wonder why you die. So, like, if the servers are fucking garbage, like, usually the servers I play on are garbage, or, like, if your Wi-Fi has some type of lag. My Wi-Fi is decent, but, like, it's not the greatest. And, like, you're gonna have a lot of lag. If you're lagging, or, like, if you have a slight delay, and you, like, go underground, but, like, somebody shoots at you, then you'll end up getting killed, even though, like, you're underground for, like, a second or two. That's the main thing I was actually facing with her. I don't even know how she can actually... I don't even know how they can actually fix that with her, if, like, at least, like, for a quality of life change, unless they would give her, like, full damage immunity, like, the instant she clicks the button. And even then, I don't know if that would even work, because, like I said, it's mainly a server issue. So, like, their servers are fucking garbage for half the time, so if there's any type of lag or delay on the servers in the current match you're playing, then you kind of get killed a lot of the time going underground. Another thing I'd actually give her is I would actually give her like a bigger AoE like on her weapon. I know it's supposed to be like a mainly a direct weapon to do most of your damage, but I think they should give it like a little bit more of like an explosion radius, to where like if you don't land like a full direct with her drill gun or whatever it is, like that way it would still at least do some damage. It would do like half the amount of damage it does with like from an actual direct with it. I don't know, similar to like kind of like Junkrat, but not really. Junkrat's more of like an explosion AoE, but her drill gun is pretty much kind of the same thing. It's just really short range. It has no long range. It's kind of like short to medium range. I think if they wanted to do that as well, that would be kind of a pretty good like small quality of life buff to her. But apart from that, I don't know what they would really do. Because like she's really difficult to balance, because if they do anything like numbers wise or like buff her survivability or like anything else, she's going to become just super broken again. So I don't know. She is fun to play though. Like from just playing her a lot recently, like actually being able to play her now without people like insta-locking her every time I go into a match, she is pretty fun to play. And I've been playing her a decent amount recently. I don't know if I'm any good. I'm probably not that good at her because I just first started playing her, but I just kind of wanted to get kind of a grasp on her and kind of some of the weak points and maybe some quality of life changes they can maybe give her. But after the nerfs and like the quality of life changes they give her, I think she's probably a solid A tier now. I think that the main problem too is there's just so many other like broken things in the game. Like there's so much other broken stuff in the game now, like especially with the mid-season changes, there's a lot of other stuff that's just still way better than her, which we'll talk about. Next we got Reaper. You know, this actually might be the first time that I actually put Reaper this low. I'm actually going to put Reaper in like a B tier. This is the lowest I think I've ever put Reaper on a list. I think it's a B tier. I might have put him at like an A tier one point. But I think B tier is probably the lowest I've ever put him. The main problem with Reaper right now is like he just doesn't do anything. The one thing Reaper does is he's supposed to farm the tank, or at least what he usually does is farm the tank. But if you guys don't know, they actually changed armor for the mid-season patch. They made it so armor is actually more... It's able to take more damage now from certain damage types from a lot of the DPS. And then like they changed the headshots, so headshots on tanks do a lot less damage. So like you're better off doing body shots instead of headshots. And that really affected Reaper. He's still good into some like your other stuff, like he's good into Hog, Malga, a few other things, but I think the main problem with Reaper is like he needs some changes. I think the game is kind of changing around him. Even at like your lower to mid tier ranks, I've seen him fall off a lot, even trying to play him in like your lower to mid tier games, like your silver gold lobbies. Like even trying to play Reaper, I feel like I just can't really do much with him anymore, especially during the mid-season after the mid-season patch went live. I just don't think he's really as good. Because the main thing you want to do is just, most of the time is what he does is like farm ult. And then dip into the enemy team's backline and drop an ult on their backline or something. And like half the time you barely get a kill with his ult anymore. Let alone are like able to really farm ult very easily without just dying over and over. So it's just really difficult to kill stuff, and like everything either out damages you, or like your main source of mobility, which is your Wraith form, being able to like run away and phase away, or your Shadow Step, everybody just runs you down, especially if you're at low health and you don't get a heal, and they just revenge kill you very easily. So I don't know. I feel like Reaper is actually not really that the greatest currently. Like you can pick him into the tanks, like if you just farm the tank the entire game, I still think he can kind of still do some stuff, but it's getting to be really difficult to actually make Reaper work. I don't know if the main problem is Reaper though, or just because the tanks are changed, because before they changed the armor and like the headshot thing on the tanks, Reaper was still really, really good, so I don't know. I think that's mainly the problem that's kind of changed. I don't think Reaper's really changed, it's just the tank changes. I don't know if they're going to buff Reaper. Now, they already said they're going to give some changes, like quality of life changes, Reaper going into Season 11. I don't know. They got to be really careful with Reaper, though, because he's such a frustrating hero to play against. He's one of those heroes that just runs your lower to mid-tier lobbies. And I do not want to be a solo queue player playing a tank and then having a Reaper on the enemy team just farm my entire team, and then having it being a 1v5 pretty much the entire game, because the Reaper just farms the rest of my team. That shit is absolute fucking AIDS. I hate that, so they gotta be really careful what they do to him. They gotta be really careful how they change Reaper, but he still can be fun to play, but you just gotta play him in a certain way. I think that's the only way you can really play him right now, is just farming the tank the entire game, and then if you can kind of get some kills with your ult, or like on some other low health stuff, depending on what you're going against, you can kind of do that as well, but mainly just to try to shit all over their tank. Pretty much what he always does, though. What else we have? Ryan. I think I've had Ryan at like C tier. I'm going to move Ryan up to a B tier. I might have put him a little bit low. I don't think he's as bad as Winston, but I just wanted to move him up to B tier because I think he's a little bit better, especially with the armor and the headshot changes they gave to the tanks. So he's a little bit more survivable and he does a lot more. Not going to really talk about him very much. I got Mercy. I'm going to put Mercy needs a rework. I don't know why I didn't put Mercy needs a rework last time, just mainly because I thought it was never going to be a thing, but I don't know. I think Mercy needs an entire rework. What I would actually do with Mercy is I would actually take her res. I would actually get rid of her ult entirely. I would actually take her res as an ability and make that her ultimate. Make it so it's a guaranteed res with her ult. And make it so like you're damage immune during the res and like you have damage immunity for like a certain, like 2 or 3 seconds after you res somebody. I think that'd be a really good ult. I don't know what else they replace their abilities with. Like they can keep the blue beam and they can keep like the yellow beam. That's fine. If they want to change those in some way, they maybe could. But like, as for another ability, I don't know what they'd really even give her to replace the revive in her kit. I'm not sure, but I think that was the reworks I would give her. I would actually make the res as her ultimate. That's what I would do going forward. But I doubt they'll ever do that because Mercy players get whatever they want, and they're in Blizzard's back pocket because they buy so many skins. So they're scared of losing their cash cows if they nerf Mercy too much, or if they give her one too few many skins over all the other heroes that never get skins. So, I don't know. Regarding not needing a rework though, like if you do want to play her, like I'd probably put her in like, I don't know, like A tier. I don't think she's really that crazy right now. I think the main thing she actually is good for is just blue beaming one of your DPS and just buffing their damage or like the tank's damage the entire game. I think that's all she's really good for currently. I think her heals are kind of lacking currently. And there's just so many other better supports to play. I wish she would get reworked. Hopefully that she's on the radar to get reworked. I think she's due for a rework. Same with Widow. Symmetra. I've actually been trying to play Symmetra lately, y'all, and I think Symmetra has to be one of the worst heroes I think I've ever played. I don't even remember her being this bad in Overwatch 1, because I actually tried playing her like for the first time, like sat down, like played the shit out of her, trying to make her work over the past few weeks. Her and Venture, the 2 DPS I've been trying to make work. Just because I want to try to start playing something new. And, like, I think Symmetra, even Overwatch 1, I didn't even remember her being, like, as bad as she currently is. Symmetra has to be probably the worst DPS in the entire game. She just doesn't do anything. She gets ran down by every single tank in the game. She gets 1v1 and just destroyed by almost every single DPS in the entire game. Stuff like Tracer, Sombra just sit and spawn camper and she can't do anything. Like, she legit does nothing. She is a DPS that legit has a teleporter and throws down a wall, and that's about all she really provides for her team. Her turrets are way too easy to destroy. They don't do nearly enough damage. Her ult, it charges decently fast, but, like, for what you really get out of it and for the wall, like, throwing down a wall and kind of separating the map, it's really not the greatest ult compared to a lot of other ones. I don't know what they really need to do with Symmetra, but I think she needs some major buffs. Buff every single thing about Symmetra. I really think that's what they need to do. And another thing that's really holding her back is she's just mainly a close range DPS. So she gets outranged by all the stuff that's able to just like go beyond whatever she can really do with her beam. Like you're able to like throw out like the damage with like the orbs or whatever. That I think they do like 65 damage or something. They used to do 65 damage. Not sure if it's the same, but like you're able to charge up and throw out orbs from her weapon too at like medium to long range, but that requires somebody pretty much standing pretty much exactly still or like being in a group of people to actually land your damage. Anybody that's like medium to long range is not going to sit in the same spot for that amount of time to get a shit ton of damage thrown at them from like your damage orbs. So that doesn't really work that much either. I think the only thing she really has is like if you can follow your tank around and just farm the enemy team's tank with like a fully charged beam. But even then, like, they're just going to sit and swing on you and destroy you. So, the enemy tanks are, like, pretty much fucking unkillable currently. Or at least some of them are. There's some that are just shit damage and are pretty much unkillable or have way more mobility than you, which we'll talk about. That, like, you still don't really do that much against. You just kind of get destroyed. So, I think Symmetra is by far the worst DPS in the entire game. I think they need to either rework her. I'd probably move her even into, like, rework or, like, just buff the shit out of her. Because she's so fucking garbage. If you're playing Symmetra, like, you're just throwing the game. And I found out that out the hard way. I've been trying to play her, and, like, I just can't get her work at all. Even like some of the other heroes, like I would play some of the other heroes, and like I've never played a lot of the other heroes very much, and like I can at least do decent on stuff like that. Like I refuse to really play Mei, but if I really wanted to, I can play her and still do stuff. With Symmetra, like even wanting to play her and try her, like I still can't do anything no matter how much I try to do anything with her. So garbage, absolute fucking garbage. Fucking loser ass hero, really sad. Even if they want to rework her into a support, which they said they were going to do, and it never really worked out for them, I think they should try it again, because even a support Symmetra I think would be better than what she currently is. She's so fucking dog shit to play. McCree, I think I put McCree at like a C or a B tier. I'm going to move McCree up into an S tier. The main reason why I'm moving McCree up into an S tier is because everybody's using him as a tank buster now. What you do with McCree is you just follow your tank around, and you just fan the hammer and throw your hindering grenade at the enemy tank. You just fan the hammer the entire game, farming their tank. That's how you play McCree right now, y'all. You follow your tank around and you just harass the enemy team's tank with hindering grenade and fan the hammer, and you just charge your ult and then drop an ult and try to get 1 or 2 kills every time you have your ult. That's how you play McCree right now, y'all. And if people focus you, you have a bunch of DR with dodge roll. You can kind of time to dodge abilities or ultimates too, which is pretty good. I don't know. That's kind of how people are playing McCree right now, and that's really sad. I think they already said they're going to be nerfing McCree for whatever reason going into Season 11 too, so expect McCree to get some type of nerfs. They're going to be nerfing McCree, or like giving him like a buff nerf. They're going to like take away some power from Fan the Hammer and his pistol and put it into the hindering grenade or some shit they said, so I don't know. I don't really give a fuck what they want to do with him. I think McCree is one of those heroes that got killed after they reworked the stun. Ever since he lost his stun from Overwatch 1 going into Overwatch 2, the guy has never been the same. Bring back the stun and bring back 6v6. I think that's what McCree really needs. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we have Hog. Here we have Hog. The one thing, everybody seems to hate Roadhog for some reason. I don't know what everybody's obsession with hating Roadhog is. I really don't. Everybody thinks he's the best tank in the game currently because with the headshot changes, he takes no damage from headshots. Plus, he has a lot of DR with Take a Breather. And, what was the other thing? I mean, he doesn't have any armor, but like the armor changes do kind of affect him. But everybody thinks he's unkillable because he has constant DR and he has the headshot multiplier. Being able to not take headshots as much and like reduce the damage from those, like makes him unkillable. And like that he can one-shot people. I'm here to tell you guys, like, if you guys don't know, if you're new here, I am actually a rank, I think 77. I'm actually a ranked 77 prestige Nintendo Switch Roadhog player. 98% of my hours playing Overwatch 2 so far have been playing Roadhog. Plus, he recently actually got the Emerald, or the Jade weapon for him. He's the only hero that I actually have a Jade weapon for too, which I actually got a few days ago. So, I'm telling you guys right now, from somebody that just plays Hog like 98% of my time, and that's a rank 77 prestige, playing him, probably the highest prestige Roadhog player on Switch. He's not that good. He's not the best tank in the game. I'm telling you guys right now, Roadhog is not the best tank in the game. There are so many things that counter Roadhog currently that are also really, really good. Especially some of the tanks. There are some of the tanks that are also really good into him. Still. I don't know. I'll put Roadhog, like, I'll be generous. Like, I think I had Hog at D tier last time. I do think with the headshot changes, he is a little bit better. I do think he is. But, like, I'll put him at, like, an A tier. I think Hog still takes a lot of skill to play. He's one of those tanks, like, people say, oh, we can just pick Roadhog and you can just roll a lobby. Well, if you land 0 hooks with Roadhog, all you do is just walk around and you just never die. You have a tank that legit is useless. He just does a little bit of damage and he just walks around and he just never dies. If that's the case, you're better off just picking any other tank that's able to actually do something. So if you can't land your hooks on Hog, or you barely land any of your hooks, like, he's not that good at all. And I don't know what the hate is with Roadhog. I really don't. Everybody fucking hates him. All the huge Twitch streamers and content creators hate Roadhog. I really don't know why. Do they actually play the same game? I know a lot of them are higher ranked players, like top 500 and like champion tier and like top, I don't know what, masters or whatever his higher ranks are. Maybe in like those tiers, especially like dueling and like up to like 3, 4, or 5 stacking, maybe he's a lot more of a threat. But like, especially in your solo queue games when you don't have a team that's actually playing with you, you're kind of required to kind of be a one-man wrecking crew and like land the majority of your hooks and like guarantee kills that way. Otherwise, you just don't do anything. So I don't know. I don't know where everybody's obsession with hating Hog is. I swear to fucking gosh, if Roadhog gets fucking nerfed for Season 11, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. Because right now, the main people that are vouching for him to get fucking nerfed, and even trying to lobby for Blizzard to rework him again, are some of the major like pro players and the huge content creators and streamers. Why don't you guys just shut your fucking mouths and play the game? Why are you trying to ruin the game for everybody that actually has fun? I have no idea. Why don't you just shut the fuck up? One of the main thing too is like Roadhog's one of the only tanks in the game that actually is still fun to play. Like look at all the other tanks in the game, stuff like Zarya or Risa. Like there's a lot of other tanks in the game that are tanks, like they feel like tanks, but man are they so fucking boring to play. They make you fall asleep playing them. One of the only tanks in the game that is still fun to actually play is Roadhog. I swear to fucking god if they get fucking rework Roadhog or nerf the shit out of him again, I'm just gonna be so pissed. Mainly because he's the only tank I do play. I do play a few of the other tanks once in a while, like Queen and Diva and like Ramatra and stuff, but like I don't want to have to be forced to play them because they nerf the fucking shit out of Roadhog when I want to play him. So, the only tank I really play. So, being the only tank I can play and actually do really well on, then I'm going to be fucked if he gets nerfed. So, I don't know. I'm going to be really pissed if that does happen. You can thank the pro players and the streamers though. Mark my words in this video. If Roadhog gets reworked again, or if he gets nerfed severely for Season 11, I'll come back on here for the next tier list, and I'll say I told you so. After what all the pro players and the large content creators and streamers have been bitch complaining for literally no reason. You think they would actually know how to play the game because they're probably a higher rank than the majority of people, and they also duo and like trio and 5 stack and ranked. You think they would actually know how to counter Hog, and they probably don't. Either that or they're just bad at the game themselves, so I don't know. What else? We have Sombra. I'm putting Sombra right up into SS tier. Or OP free win. Sombra is fucking busted. If you're solo queuing a ranked, especially like the majority of your lower to mid tier games, Sombra, what she does currently, like the armor changes kind of affected her, so she can't really farm the tank as easily. But what Sombra has actually changed to now is she just goes to farm one of the enemy team's DPS or like the enemy supports, and she just sits outside of their spawn the entire game and spawn camps one of the DPS or the supports and just kills them over and over the entire game, making an auto 4v5 for your team. That's what she does. That's how you play Sombra in 2024, y'all. We have Sombra sitting outside of spawn, killing supports and DPSs and spawn camping them the entire fucking match. This game fucking sucks, and the entire rework for Sombra was a fucking failure. Because that's one thing I told them before they reworked Sombra earlier, like a year ago or whatever it was. If they rework her and she isn't this like what this gonna be doing? Like, doesn't this make it so you're incentivized to just sit in spawn camp with infinite invisibility? And what happened? Now that she can't farm the tanks as easy, now she's gonna sit in spawn camp the entire game. I don't know how fucking frustrating it is. I'm gonna tell you guys a story real quick. I was playing Symmetra. Like I said I was playing Symmetra. I had a match where there was a Sombra on the enemy team. What the guy would do is he would just sit outside my spawn the entire game, and he would just hack me and then just delete me before I was able to react. It took to the point where my entire team had to sit and fucking guard me out of spawn so she wasn't able to solo jump me and just kill me instantly and win the 1v1 every single time because she has longer range than I do. So she wasn't able to kill me to actually make her stop sitting outside my spawn and actually make her go do other stuff. And even then, she still went after me the entire game. That is what Sombra does right now, y'all. Absolute fucking AIDS, unfun hero to play against. I don't know why they ever reworked her, and if the rework was something that they wanted to do, it is an absolute fucking failure. Garbage. One of the most unfun fucking AIDS heroes in the entire game. I hate playing against her. The only way you actually deal with her too is like if you're in solo queue, like you just gotta hope your team coordinates enough to actually get rid of her and actually deal with her. Because if your team is just running around with their heads cut off, like usually in most of your solo queue games, then she just farms your entire team. That's another problem too. You have to have like at least 2 or 3 people constantly targeting her, so she's not able to just farm your entire lobby. especially in like your lower to mid-tier games. It is just so fucking annoying. I don't know how many games I've lost because the enemy team has a Sombra, and then I'm forced to play tank, and I'm doing really well. I'm killing everybody, but like the Sombra on the enemy team is farming both of my supports, and then my DPS are also getting farmed by him. So I'm a solo tank versus an entire team of 5 people, and I lose because the Sombra just farms my entire team. There you go. That's Sombra right now. If you want to win, pick Sombra in your ranked games, and you just easily win the game. We got Orisa. I'm putting Orisa right up into SS tier. They nerfed Orisa about, I think it was actually a week after I made that tier list for Season 10, like the Season 10 launch tier list. About a week after that, they actually nerfed Orisa. They gave her some pretty hefty nerfs, but I still think she's like one of the top tier tanks in the game. She's not the best tank in the game, but she's still right up there in like top 3 best tanks, 100%. Still really, really good. I'm not going to talk about her very much, but she's just no longer the best #1 tank in the game. Here comes the other two tanks. I guess she's tank number 4. I take that back. She's probably tank number 4 in the game. Here's Doomfist. You know what really boggles my mind is how people can bitch and complain about how Roadhog is broken, but they look at Doomfist and they think Doomfist is somehow balanced. I don't know. Doomfist is probably the most broken tank in the game right now. I think Doomfist. Spoiler. Let's just do all the tanks that are still remaining that I'm probably put on here. Let's get Wrecking Ball up here. And where's Malga? Here's Malga? Let's move all 3 of these tanks right on up into OP free win tier. Malga, and then you got Wrecking Ball. Let's talk about all these tanks real quick, because some of these actually foreshadowed in my first tier list for this season as well, which I kind of talked about. Doomfist is broken. I don't know why, like I said, I don't know why people actually go after Hog and think he's broken when there's stuff like Doomfist and Malga in the game. Like, these are 2 of the best tanks in the game, and then Wrecking Ball is the other 3rd best one currently. These are the top 3 free, easy win tanks. You play any of these tanks, and if the opponent does not switch to counter you, or if the enemy tanks does not switch to, like, try to check you, you just instantly win the game. That's what these 3 tanks are currently. That's just how it is. This goes to show you how awful the balance team is, too, because this is something I legit said. In the last tier list, I was like, oh, if they're going to nerf Orisa, once Orisa gets nerfed, then you're going to have stuff like Malga and Doomfist be really good. And I also talked about Wrecking Ball, which got reworked for Season 10. And I was like, well, I don't even think he really needs any buffs. What did they do? They went and buffed the shit out of Wrecking Ball because nobody was playing him after he got reworked. And now Wrecking Ball is one of the best tanks in the game. Who said it first? I told you so. If you don't believe me, go back and look at the first tier list I did for Season 10. I said the exact same thing. If you buff him for no reason, I think the main reason why is nobody's playing him enough. They're still learning him. He doesn't need buffs. If they buff him, he's going to be one of the best tanks in the game, and they went and buffed him because the Blizzard team's so fucking dumb. Especially the balance team, which I complain about every single time. I don't know how they're still employed. I don't know how... I'm not even being paid to balance the game, and like I seen that from a mile away before they even did it, and I predicted what was going to happen, and here we are. So there you go. If you guys want one of the best tanks in the game, these are the 3 best free easy win tanks in the game. Play Malga, Doomfist, or Wrecking Ball. There you go. Malga hasn't really even changed at all. The only thing that's really changed with him is he actually is even more unkillable now because of the headshot changes and the armor changes. Plus, the one thing that was keeping him in check is Orisa got the shit nerfed out of her, so she's not keeping him in check anymore, so now he just runs your games. So there you go. Also, if anybody that's complaining about Roadhog being OP, you guys obviously have not played any of these heroes. I guess Wrecking Ball is kind of situational because you can get hooked by him, but they have to be really good to hook you constantly. But just play Doomfist or like Malga every single time versus Hog. These 2 tanks every single time, usually, especially Malga, win versus Hog the majority of the time. So those of you guys that are complaining about Roadhog being absolutely broken for whatever reason, you guys obviously aren't playing the same stuff, or the stuff that you need to be playing to counter him, where you're just getting wrecked by him and you're just bitching and complaining for no reason. I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm playing Hog, the worst matchups I have that I've been going against recently are these 3 tanks. I don't really even struggle against a lot of the other ones. Orisa kind of, if they're really good. They know how to cycle their cooldowns. She still can counter you, but it's these 3 tanks. And that is coming from a 77 prestige level Roadhog. There you go. Doubt you have near the amount of time on Roadhog than I do. Baptiste. I'm gonna put Baptiste in S tier. I think I had him in needs of rework tier last time, and then I realized how stupid that was because I don't think they'll ever rework Baptiste, especially over some of the other heroes that could use a rework, like Symmetra probably, or like Widow or even Mercy. That was kind of dumb, so I just threw him in this S tier, I think. Echo. Here's another one. Echo is going right up into SS tier. Echo was already a really good DPS, and then they ended up buffing her for mid-season. They made it so like during her ultimate, she's able to get the ult of whoever she transforms into a lot faster. So now she not only does she farm her ult really fast, when she's using her ult, she's able to get her ult even quicker. Why did she need that buff? I have no idea when she was already one of the best DPS in the entire game. Don't know. There you go, play Echo, one of the best DPS currently. Got Sojourn. I'm not going to really even talk about Sojourn. We know how good she is. She's going right up into free win OP tier. Free win OP. She is by far the best DPS in the entire game. There is no questions asked. I think the only other one on her level is maybe Echo. Apart from that, there's nobody else on the level of these two DPS currently. The three beat DPS currently are Sombra, Echo, and Sojourn. Those are the three best damage heroes in the entire game. There you go. Especially for your mid to lower tier like solo queue games. What else? What else we have? I'm not even gonna talk about Soldier. You guys know how fucking busted she is. I say it every single time. I have Life Weaver. I think the main problem with Life Weaver, I forgot where I had him. I think I had Life Weaver at S tier actually. I'm actually gonna move him down to A tier. I think the main problem with Life Weaver is he's just a heal bot. He's just really boring to play and he just doesn't really do anything for support. He just sits there and you just heal the same thing over and over. Like what Life Weaver does currently is he just sits there and heals the tank nonstop. That's his job. Like granted, it's not really bad to do that, but like apart from that, like what does he really do? He has a pool that you can pull somebody out of and like grass to pull him out, so you can pull him across the map out of like a bad situation or whatever, but like apart from that, like, what else does he really have? He has a really good ult. I don't know, I feel like he's just kind of lacking something. But at the same time, if they really buff him and if they buff his numbers again, I really don't want to deal with, like, a Life Weaver just keeps healing everything over and over and, like, makes everything unkillable. So, I think Life Weaver overall is just balanced currently. I wouldn't really change anything about him. I think what they should actually start doing is they start looking at some of the more top-tier, like, stuff in the game currently. Stuff like Moira, and there's a few other supports and bunch of other heroes in the game I think they need to worry about before they get to Life Weaver, so I don't know. That's the entire list, y'all. That is the entire updated mid-season tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I don't know about you guys, but man, they got a lot of work to do balance-wise going into Season 11. The game right now feels like shit to play. I think the only tank that's actually fun to play is Hog. I think that's just mainly because of the headshot changes that makes them a lot more survivable, so you're not able to get, like, blown up after, especially when they increased the anti-heal passive, which kind of counteracted that a little bit, which made them a little bit better. But apart from that, like, there's still a few other, like, tanks that are kind of fun to play, but I think the main problem with tank role currently is, like, nobody likes playing Doomfist, Malga, or, like, Wrecking Ball. The only reason people are actually playing them is just because they're beyond fucking broken, and they just win all your games. I think that's kind of the problem with the tank role. Either the tanks are just really fucking boring to play, or the ones that are good are just beyond broken, and they're just being played because they're beyond broken. They're just way OP, so I don't know. I don't know what they really need to do to make the tanks actually feel good to play. The only one that actually, at least for me, is fun to play is like Hog, and then maybe Junker Queen when you're not getting destroyed. I still think Junker Queen's really bad, but she's fun to play. There's one or two other tanks that are also decently fun to play, like D.Va's pretty fun, but overall, I think the tanks are kind of suffering. I don't know. I wouldn't really say like balance-wise. Like there's way too many really good tanks in the game. I think balance-wise they need to really do something with the tanks. I really do. There's a lot of bad tanks. There's a lot that are just really, really good. And I think that what they really need, the main thing they need to quit doing is actually listening to the pro players and like the large streamer and content creators' feedback. Though I think that's one thing that's actually really ruining the balance. Because they actually listened to some of the feedback for some of the pro players for the mid-season balance changes. For some of the changes they actually gave to, I think it was Venture, and there was a Sigma change that they gave him for like a quality of life change that made him incredibly good, and then they ended up nerfing it and reverting it like legit a few days ago. So those balance changes were garbage. I would never listen to pro players or the streamers or content creators at all. especially the ones with the big audiences, because all they're going to do is just going to either they're in Blizzard's back pocket, they're being paid by Blizzard to say whatever they want, or they're ones that just have an agenda that they want to push their own shit into the game. I don't know. Unlike them, I'm not being paid by Blizzard. This is 100% like real accurate tier list from somebody that actually plays the game at a solo queue level and as like an average player level. So there you go. No bias here at all. You ain't gonna hear that from anybody else, especially some of the ones that just sit and play on stream 24/7, or the ones that are getting paid by Blizzard to be flown out into Porsche HQ and drive a Huracan for 3 days. Tell you right now that they're not going to say the real shit about the game because they don't want to lose those privileges. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Overall, like, there's some decent stuff. Like, a lot of stuff's towards the middle, which is okay. Like, a lot of stuff is in S tier and, like, A tier, which ain't too bad. Like, A tier is your balanced stuff. B tier is a little bit below average, but, like, not really bad. There's just a lot of outliers. Going into Season 11, I know they got a lot of work to do, but I have no hope for them at all to really balance the game at all. Knowing them, we're going to get some really decent nerfs for some things, but, like, some stuff will never even get changed. Probably, I'm guessing Sombra and Soldier won't even get any changes, if I were to guess. I'll make that prediction right now. And then there's going to be a bunch of other stuff that they randomly giga buff, or they give buffs to for no reason, and we're going to have another whole balancing fiasco on our hands for Season 11. And then we actually, for Season 12, we actually have Space Ranger coming into the game. So we actually have a new support on the way here, as well as in I think 2 seasons, which will be in like August. So that'll be kind of cool to look forward to. I think she's on her way into the game. Kind of looking forward to Space Ranger and see what you actually do with her. I don't know. Apart from that, I also do stream over here. If you guys want to catch my streams, I'm also over here live, usually on Friday nights and Saturday nights. And I also do stream on Twitch once in a while. I stream Overwatch 2, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Apex Legends, Warframe, a bunch of other stuff, so 2 and 3, a few other things over here. So if you guys that interested, you guys feel free to subscribe. Apart from that, I'm gonna get out. Peace out, everybody.